This is episode 304 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dio Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel, Need Sleep, Manzano.
I can do this all night long.
Will, Raider shots, Raider shots, Raider shots. Haygood.
Speaking of all night long.
Ryan, last one in, last one out. Staniszewski.
What I kept saying, they let me in, the last one in from the waitlist LCQ. I wanted to be the last one out.
And James, happy to be here. Ritter.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be at Adepticon for Worlds. Happy to do it again next year.
All right, as for announcements and news, if you've been living under a rock, maybe your only connection to X-Wing is this podcast. Thank you. Nicholas God, world champion, the winner of an absolutely amazing game of X-Wing. Lots of back and forth. James, I think we got to commentate what is going to be a game that a lot of people not only watch, enjoy, analyze, and talk about through the history of X-Wing. I think it was one of the greats.
Yeah, like up there definitely with like the 5 straights of Destiny.
Yeah,
and other really big games like that. Yeah, it was exciting. The first worlds of AMG X-Wing, right, or X-Wing 2.5, and the objective did play a big part in the game. So yeah, excited to break it down and have more and more discussions about it.
That's right. We were going to try to get Nicholas God on today's podcast, but he's traveling back to Sweden. It's a little busy. All right. I asked him, I was like, what are you doing tomorrow? He goes, flying back to Sweden. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone then. So, our podcast brought to you by our amazing Gold Squadron patrons. Becoming a patron, it makes you part of our largest group of supporters and the ones that really help get it done. One bit of news that we discovered here, our shipper, Curl Paw Creatives, found an error in one of the cards that we were shipping out, so we stopped those, but the reprints have arrived as of today. Mind you, he was at World, so they arrived maybe last week while he was, or this weekend while he was gone. But they're there. They're at the Curl Paw Creatives shipping facility. They're gonna get packed up, sent out. Patreon goodies headed to your mailbox. Prepare to receive some nom noms. All right. What are we talking about today? We got 2 major topics. We're going to first, of course, be breaking down the World Championship results. Not only the top 8 lists, we're going to talk about just kind of our feelings and how everything went. We want to start off by talking about how each of our players, people in our team, did. And also, we're going to end with talking about what AMG revealed during their studio update, because there's lots of nuggets and tidbits to unpack there. Super excited about it. Well, let's get started here. Ryan, tell us about your World Championship experience.
So, as I mentioned in the previous cast, I did have to go through the gauntlet of the LCQ to try and qualify into Worlds. That was a little that was a little more difficult for me than I had anticipated. By round 3, I was only 1 and 2. I needed to win out to even have a chance. I was kind of joking with the people around me. I'm like, guys, X-Wing's hard. A lot of really good people showed up. X-Wing's hard. Make sure you have all your right win cons in place, your decision making. Yeah, I practiced a lot going into Worlds, of course, but being there, facing off against tough competition, everyone wants in. But I was able to pull out, winning the last 2 games. But even then, I wasn't officially in yet. For people who may have been paying attention to some social media posts within Fly Better and other outlets, I was at the bottom of the wait list. Only 1 through 50 got in for sure in the LCQ into Worlds, and 51 through 60 was the farthest it was going to go down the rest of the LCQ is waitlist people that fill in spots available, whether it's a combination of more table space that was
Yep.
given to X-Wing from the Armada side, or tables that were originally reserved for Armada, or space could be reallocated, and or anyone that didn't actually end up showing up for the main event that was already registered. So by that night, I'm not feeling great about that because I'm at the bottom of the wait list. But I was like, I'll just show up.
So you were
I'll
number
get in.
60. You were number
Yes.
60.
Yes.
Okay.
If I get in, awesome. If I don't, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help out Dion. Maybe rotate James out commentating or something, or I'll figure out something else to do, side events or whatnot. So show up in the morning. A lot of back and forth. Chris letting us know what was going on, where we should be, informing us of things going on, confirming, reconfirming the space that's available. Every time we come back, everyone at the wait list is like, "Oh, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? Is it now? Is he gonna tell us who's in?" And turns out that all of us got in, all 9 of us. And I say 9 specifically because one of the 10 was a gentleman that did not make it to the morning to be there for waitlist entry because unfortunately his car broke down. He eventually came back to the event later in the day, found me, or at least went to Chris Allen originally, who was the event organizer, and he said, and at the end of their conversation, kind of updating Chris on what was going on. He said, "Hey, you should probably go get Ryan Stanzewski to thank you because he would have been in without what happened with you this morning," which he did. And
Wow.
I was first. I just want to make sure one, he was okay, his car was okay, and everything else was all set, and he was good. He said, "Yep, I'm all good, no problem, not a big deal. It's kind of funny how you're in here but by this time when he found me, I'm 3-0 in the day 1 of Worlds. I'm feeling a whole lot better about my play and what I'm doing. Towards the top tables, I end up facing Pierre, who ended up being top in Swiss, was my first loss.
Yep.
And I finish out day 1 4-1, feeling pretty good. Still have to basically do the exact same thing, go 4-1 on the next day when I'm paired up against more difficult people. We have more rounds of Swiss and the days carry over, and your rankings and your brackets where you are basically will be from where your record is from day 1. So day 2 rolls around, and I get paired up with friend Kaylin Wong, who kicks my butt with Power Drive in salvage. And then round two was my heartbreaker because I never faced this list before. It was from a gentleman named Arnad from France, I believe. He was running a double Reaper, double Striker, and Goron list. Not a very
wow.
common Empire. It's not even a Vader there. And we're running Chance, and I was very patient and played a really good bait move with Obi-Wan and worked Contrail and Anakin around to snipe off Pure Sabak and eventually get Goron, which are the 2 ships you need to kill in that list. You cannot try and go at the Reapers.
No.
You won't have enough firepower to bring them down without trading not well for yourself because Goron's tossing them evades. But made one mistake with Anakin, it cost him, and from that forgot I still had one more bomb on Contrail that I could have used, and even then Obi had the chance to win it and just didn't get the die roll he needed. But so that was mistakes on me, which felt bad because that's what basically mathematically knocked me out of top 8. But there was a very small chance that an X and 3 could make top 8, but I think by the round later, when the first undefeated took their first loss, and other people at the top started knocking each other out, or at least knock each other like around, basically, because they were still in contention. But because they were starting to get losses, other people who had 3 losses are less likely to make that top 8. But I was almost ready after that after I was 4-3 at that point, to say, all right, I'm not in the top 8 for sure. At least I'm pretty sure. But maybe I'll play some other games or I'll call it a day. And because wasn't sure about continuing to play after that. I was like, you know what? Let's just play the next round, see how it goes, right? if it's a close game and I'm feeling still a little off kilter, like might even call it there if I get a win. But if I'm feeling good after that and I feel rejuvenated, I'll keep going. And I got a win. Felt more rejuvenated. Kept going. Got another win. And final game, we got paired. Originally, me versus Will Hagewood right here. We
Oh,
were gonna
snap.
play in the final round 10, and we were both around the 20s in our ranking. So there was top 16 and top 32 prizes. I wasn't sure if any of us were going to get to 16 if we beat each other, or if any of us lost, we were going to get knocked out of 32 for prizes. So I said, Will, before we set up, let's do something real quick. I called the judge, and I said, Will, would you like an intentional draw? Will thought about it. And you know what? He just wanted to play a game with a friend. And I said, sure, let's do it. Yeah, not a big deal. I just offered, we were close to the end of the day, probably a little tired. But if you want to play a good game with a friend, I'm down. Let's do it. And then we hear the giant announcement of a repair. So it never happened. And I ended up getting matched up with Matt Carey, another friend. Anyway, I do the same thing because, Dion, as you know, the night before, he went to go see a movie, John Wick, with you guys.
He sure did.
And he was up till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
By his own choice?
He was really tired. And I think I was like, I need to offer you guy this ID more than even I did just Will. So I offer Matt an ID, and he's like, same thing. I kind of want to play a good game of X-Wing with my friend. Okay. So we played Salvage. He was running 6 clones. And by round 4 of the game, he was like, maybe I should have took that ID, because I had a pretty good control of the game, and we wasn't technically out of it or wasn't a blowout or anything, but I had killed his wolf. I had control of 2 boxes that he could have a hard time getting to, and Anakin and Contrail were kind of in his back line. He was trying to chase Contrail, but Contrail was laying down some bombs. So I eventually closed that game out and ended up 7-3 with a final ranking of 18th. So to go from the bottom of the wait list all the way up to 7-3 as 18th overall, I feel because of how deep for me the lows were on this one, like both the lows of the LCQ getting those losses and the heartbreaker that took me down to 3 losses that I had the game against the Imperial Striker Reaper list. And still bringing myself back out of it, both mentally. I think it was like a very big test for me mentally on my resilience as a player.
Absolutely.
Still stick into the game and play it out, test and see how I feel after a game, after something, bad might happen. Because I usually feel pretty confident in my mentality game to game, right? Something bad happens, a variance thing, or even round to round, turn to turn. Like, something bad happens, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, time to move on. That sucks, but nope, time to do the next thing. But I was, like I said, I was really close to saying I don't think I can finish the day, but I did, and I think it really tested my mental resilience as a player. But I don't want to keep doing that in the future. I would like to not put myself in those holes. That's what I need to work on. But I'll take being basically 18th overall out of 300 almost players.
Because anybody
plus, I played 15 rounds of X-Wing.
Exactly. Anybody who looks at the standings, if you're looking at Roll Better, what's not listed there are the 5 rounds that happened the day before this. Like it was a ton of X-Wing.
I'm really glad I bought new shoes a month ago.
So they were broken in. They were in that optimally supportive stage.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Well, just great work, man. Being 18th overall is really good. If you just looking at who else is in this entire event, for all 3 of you guys, like this was a gauntlet. There were no pushovers, and not that there normally are, but what I'm saying is that everybody came to win, right? people were coming and trying to go for that world championship. There were people from all around the world vying for it, and great run, man.
Thank you. But I guess to clarify, since I don't know if I ever even said my list: Anakin 7B, SOC OB Ada, SOC Click, SOC Kickback, and regular Contrail. Basically, look at Tyler's LVO list, and that's what I ran.
And I think that makes it so that you're fourth Republic. If I'm just the quick look at
So,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And second overall person from the LCQ, Nate May, placed higher than me as the highest LCQ player, which that's pretty impressive to have people who went through the LCQ and still had people within the top 32 showing up from just 5 more rounds of X-Wing earlier, plus then all these 10 more rounds.
All right, Marcel, tell us about your performance at the World Championship of X-Wing.
Well, it was a story of, what do they call it? Two sides, two worlds. So it was two different stories, Friday to Saturday. So Friday, I played 4-1 overall. I won the first 4 matches. Felt really good in terms of just like how I'm feeling, how I'm playing. Bless you. Um, just overall feeling pretty good about my performance and my play. Enjoying every single game. Um, and locked in. Uh, like really like focusing. I actually had gotten good sleep the night before, so I was feeling pretty well. The fifth game, well, the first another thing that I really enjoyed was just out of the first 5 opponents. I played round 1 against someone from Brazil, Leo. Round 2 against someone from the Netherlands. Round 3, I believe it was against an Italian, but out of the UK. So an Italian currently living in the UK. Fourth was an American, and fifth was from Spain. So five, 5 games, 5 countries. I thought that was like something that was. It felt like Worlds. It didn't feel like even Gen Con or other tournaments like that where you go and it's like a huge event. It's not Worlds. It's you don't get that experience anywhere else. So that was pretty cool. And then my fifth round, I played against. I'm terrible with names. Uh, it is from
Luckily,
Spain.
you don't have to remember it because we could just find you in the rankings. I believe you
Well,
were
it's not. Yeah, it's number.
you were
Who
50.
got third place?
You were 50 overall.
Yeah.
Who got third place? What?
Yeah, the
Mario? Mario Nunez Jimenez?
Yeah. Again, I'm terrible with names. But yeah, so the Spanish player that went to the top 4.
Yeah, Mario.
And so that was my fifth game, and that was a little bit of a doozy that kind of left me. The right word is probably shell shocked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So my list, I was flying the 4 TIE fighters from the first order TIE fighters, Gaelic Walrus, the DT and Scorch, with Tractor Beam and Mag Pulse on the 2 I-5s. And then I also flew Whirlwind and what's the other guy's name? The I-4 guy. The other named I-4.
DT798?
Whisper.
No, the Whisper. Whirlwind?
That's the I-3 guy.
Nightfall.
Nightfall, there you go. So I was flying Nightfall, Whirlwind, and the 4 First Order against Mario's list, who is kind of like a Rebel Alpha Strike. And I felt super comfortable against it because my Whispers are going to get up to range 1, not being able to get target locked. He's not going to shoot any torpedoes. So I'm in a pretty safe spot. And then on top of that, my I-5s are lined up against his I-4s, his Dutch and his B-Wing, and I have the tools to be able to make those follow-up shots not really important. I got the exact engagement that I wanted with Nightfall right in front of Kraken and West,
Mm-hmm.
cloaked at range 2, so it's close enough to be able to do something in the next round, but not so close that they're going to be shooting range 1 shots at me. And then Dutch and Ten Num were kind of facing off against Malrus and Gaelic. So Malrus target locks Dutch. His Errant Kraken shoots at um no, first West. West shoots at Nightfall, does one shield, takes my token off because it's West jamming. And then Kraken shoots, does nothing, gives Dutch target lock. So Dutch takes a target lock and gives a target lock to Ten Num on Gaelic. So they can shoot off their torpedoes. Um, but I have Mag Pulse on Dutch, so I go ahead and turn off that torpedo with the jam. Gaelic shoots Ten Num and moves Ten Num behind the rock so that if he's shooting, he's literally like touching the rock almost. And if he's shooting, I have an extra die. He's shooting through the rock. He's flying through the rock next turn. And then he's like, okay, you're up. And I tell him like, wait, like you're facing a rock. Like you sure you don't want to like do something before anything else? He's like, what do you mean? Like, and basically I had to explain to him that you're allowed to rotate after being tractored. Spain, they haven't been playing a lot, so he wasn't completely up, which is kind of crazy that he made top 4 without even being up to date with all the rules.
It's
So
just
then,
good, man. Just be good. That's all you got to do is roll up, be good.
Yeah. And so he called the judge over because he couldn't like understand like how the turn worked. Because I had put him on the back of the like on the back of the dial, not on the back of the template.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if I rotate, and he, without moving the template, he was trying to rotate, and then that would push him down. He's on the rock. He's like, I'm not allowed to rotate. So basically, I had to convince him that he was able to rotate after a while. And he called the judge. He's like, yeah, you're allowed to move the template back, and you rotate where he barreled you, or where he tractored you. So now that he flipped to the side, he had like a millimeter into Nightfall.
Yeah.
Rolled his 3 dice into a hit crit into my 1 shield and 3 hull Nightfall, who decided to no evades. I think there was like 2 focuses in there. So I had my 6 dice without a single evade into a direct hit. Round 2 dead Nightfall.
Oh no.
So the head judge from Australia, seeing that, and gave me kind of like a consolation. Like, here's a good sportsmanship ticket for the prize wall, because basically I killed myself by
informing him that, yeah.
Well, not by, it was more than informing. I informed them, and then I was kind of like telling them, like, you sure you don't want to do this? Like.
Well, I think from the sounds of it though, if you know you're telling him,
he thought it was illegal. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, so yeah, you gave him the information, and did it hurt you? Yes, but at the same time, you did the right thing. So, props.
Yeah. And then it was still a close game. So it ended up being 8-7. I lost that one, and I played a little bad. Like I still felt like I was in a really good position to win, but like after that, I didn't get tilted. Like I wasn't upset. I was like, when you're like, oh crap, I'm down, and you're trying harder than you should be, and that made me just take some risks and make some moves that were not the smartest. But it was still a tied game, or actually I was up by 1 or tied, one of the two. No, it was a tied game. And then in the last turn, it was just me not paying attention to the clock, and basically I gave him a free point by moving away from the objective so he can take it, even though my I5 was going to be able to take it later. So he took it instead of me. Like, he would be able to take it, but I would have been able to take it back, so we can end in a draw. But again, I was just not looking at the time. I thought I had one more turn to turn around and kill his one hull ship, but it didn't go. So that day, uh, 4-1, I actually felt like I underperformed. Like it felt like I should have been 5-0. I was a little upset about it. And then Saturday, I got no sleep, like 3.5 hours. Saturday, I ended up losing my first game to the LVO winner. And that was just straight mental not mental mistake. It was a bad choice. So I ended up playing the objective games and didn't attack the bombers early enough. And by the time I went to attack the bombers, it was too late, and I lost that one by 1 point again. So two losses at 1 point. Then my seventh match, I won it against Brendan from Canada. With a final, yeah, with a final. It was crazy. He was flying Nightfall too. He lined up a rocket on DT, and he blasted DT out of the water. But I had a rocket lined up from my Nightfall to his Nightfall, and I one shot the Nightfall. He had two shields and full hull, and I just had that one shot, and it was like karma. I got my revenge. Nightfall got his revenge on another Nightfall, so I won that one by 1 point. Also, Brendan was winning that one pretty handedly until that miracle shot. Then I lost two more. I think more than anything out of fatigue, I just wasn't making the best choices. I landed on rocks um, on multiple occasions. Like I just wasn't playing very well, and I think I just burned out. But burned out having fun, because usually when in a tournaments like this, once I'm mathematically out of the cut, I stop playing. But I was having a lot of fun. So even though I was tired, I didn't sleep well, I was mathematically out of the cut, I kept on playing, and I just wanted to keep on playing because I was actually enjoying the people I was playing with. They were all from different countries, and I was genuinely enjoying the games. They were all close, they were all fun. And even though I was already out of the cut, and I was
Right.
playing pretty badly. I mean, compared to like what my standard is, I was having a lot of fun. So we kept playing, and then my final game was against Nick Tobin. So Nick Tobin is a local, really good friend of mine. He had gotten off some difficult losses. He was a little bit down on himself. We were both 5-4, and then we made a gentleman's agreement to play the game, but regardless of how the game went, it was going to be a draw. So we did an intentional draw,
N-
but we still played friendly.
No. So what you're saying is that you called the judge, you did an intentional draw, and then you played the game.
No, what I'm saying is I
No.
cheated because
What you're
no, I
saying.
100% cheated.
What you're saying is that that you didn't.
Yeah, it was an
I've-
intentional draw, and then we played a friendly match after. There you go. Does that make you feel better?
That does make me feel better.
Um,
That makes me feel a lot
but-
better because that
Yeah,
follows
but
the rules of the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, like leading up to like, hey, you know what, and we colluded before that.
No.
We said, hey, you know what, we'll both end up positive. You 5-4, I'm 5-4. I don't want you to end up not on the positive. I don't want to end up not on the positive. You want to draw? And he's like, yep. And then we drew, and then we had like Rocky. We had like Rocky and Apollo Creed. We had a secret match that nobody knows the result but me and him.
That's right.
And ultimately,
One of the
we
lost
ended up
episodes.
5-4-1, and 5-4-1, but had a ton of fun. I actually got reinvigorated to want to start playing X-Wing again, which is not that I hadn't stopped cold turkey, but I was only playing like maybe once every few weeks or once a month. So I think it kind of like opened up my appetite a little bit more to try. Not maybe after about a month, like gotta relax. But
Yep. I mean, we're
definitely
technically in the off season, right? Like we're in the
yeah,
off
like
season now for a little bit.
start prepping whenever like store championships coming around. Maybe like a month before, start doing like more reps and get in there again.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And Will, how'd you do?
I exceeded my expectations. I got into playing the second day of Swiss, had to get through last chance qualifier and the 5 rounds of day one. Uh, last chance qualifier, so stressful. Everybody hungry for those wins. I ended up flying the same list in both of those. You could change your list, but I only brought one list, so I wouldn't change it last minute, which was similar to Marcel flying that Core 4 FO fighters, Malorus, DT, Gaelic, and Scorch. But I used those remaining 8 points to bring a second ion cannon and another I4 TIE fighter with static, and the only hollow in the entire world Swiss, uh, which was hollow. The Magpulse missile on hollow, the ion cannons, just being able to throw a bunch of red dice, and each individual ship being able. I have 4 copies of Elusive. Anybody that could take it did, and that really helped. But Dion, it had made every game so close. I was doing the calculations.
Yeah, you made a little chart in the Discord. Is it all right if I pull that up to show?
Yeah, throw it up. I should have put in there.
One moment, everyone.
Something else, but yeah, guys. That's why I wanted the scenarios in there too. I'll probably add those in as well to see if there's any. What do I want to say? Relationship between them. But yeah, I had 8 games. But you can see, I do love this chart though, because at one point I just hit a groove. After a couple of games in, I just find a rhythm and really can get some big wins. But at some point in World Swiss, fatigue sets in, and just so many close matches to round out the day. Still won 4-1. Big props. I mean, we all went 4-1, guys. That's amazing in the first day of Worlds, when there was just a murderer's row everywhere of these world class players.
Yeah, because I mean, there was.
Turns out when you
go ahead, James.
Turns out when you play win 9 out of your 10 games, eventually, yeah, you're gonna hit some really good opponents that just like you shouldn't be up here. You get back to go back on that other side of the bracket there. Looks like we lost Will for a moment.
He'll be back. He always comes back.
Come back. Yeah, but on this chart here, you can see that the red dots are losses, the green one is a draw, and that the blue ones are wins. Then the black dots are the ones where the game was decided by 1 point or less. Will, how did you even manage to have so many close games?
Well, the problem is that I play objectives. That was the real strength of the FO, is that with so many durable bodies on the board that are just fast enough to get away a lot of the times, you have to play a lot of these. I'm trying to think of. Okay, so for example, Fawn's Long's game, it's 17-18. The only ship that dies is hollow in that game. So I had, knowing that I thought I had to make up 2 typhos realistically, right? So I was like, I somehow need to find 7 more objectives than him, which was not going to be easy, right? Especially with him playing fast ships. That's really where my list struggled, was against the Galactic Republic. Can't in certain like objectives because I'm just not fast enough. Only
So
Hollow has
that was a
boost and
that was a salvage round for you between you and
yeah,
Paul.
that was salvage. We were just towing around crates, trying
Like not
everything
not
not to
shooting each
die.
other, just like
Uh,
holding on to
well,
the
I
crates.
mean, I offered his hound to joust, and his hound said, or his hawk said no. And I was like, that's probably fair.
Come
I
back
have a
here.
lot
Let
of
me
TIE
shoot
fighters
you.
over here. Yeah, that's the. Oh man, that's what I do like about having 6 ships, though, is that you can flex like, yo, we'll joust you with all 6 ships.
Right. It's gonna
And
be okay.
Even Darth Vader defenders like, I don't really want to face 6 ships.
Yeah.
With like Magpul, like with the control ion cans and things. And I think that's how I was able to squeak by a couple of those, is being able to like ionize somebody so they can't pick up a crate, ionize them so they can't shoot at my wounded TIE fighter. So yeah, a grueling 15 games. I cannot believe that I was able to get all the way through them. But
But I mean,
yeah,
it's a world
eventually,
championships, right? Like that is. If it wasn't a grind, then
no.
it wasn't the worlds.
Oh no, I was definitely still like, I was noticing like, it was like, okay, like I'm making like one small mistake, like here and there, one small mistake. But then yeah, like later on, it's like a lot of the games were like last turn mistakes, where I didn't get a ship out of arc, or one of their ships ended up in an arc that they shouldn't have, and that was like the deciding factor, was a single shot, a single objective, or something like that.
All right. So great work by all three of you who played. James and I, we were undefeated. Just saying. Just saying. I got to put that out there. We were undefeated, but
Didn't lose a single time.
not even once.
Just our voices and our minds watching so much X-wing.
This is very true. Yeah, great job. An absolute testament to how much experience you guys bring to the table when it comes to, like, when we talk about X-wing. Like, at least these three prove they know something about X-wing. And James and I, we do all right. We
I did have a question for the three of you that did play. How much of those later games was just endurance to last that long, or how much of it was you actually like, I guess, like, not skill, but like how much did like tiredness and your endurance have on the actual game, like especially those later games?
I'll go first. I think it had a ton. I mean, uh, for multiple reasons. One of them is the just like I said, the fact that I got 3.5 hours of sleep, I couldn't sleep. That did. I don't know how much it affected me, but when you don't sleep, it affects you without you realizing it affects you. Like, it's just, you're just not as fast, you're just not as quick. It's just the nature of your body not getting the rest. It's the same thing if you don't drink enough water or if you don't eat the right way. You may not realize it, but your performance will, in anything you do, not just X-wing, anything you do, your performance is going to suffer if you don't take care of your body. So definitely had something, but that is hard to say, like, what impact it has, because you don't notice that. That's just something that you're you know subconsciously, or not even subconsciously, without being aware of it happening, you're just not making as optimal decisions without being aware you're not making optimal decisions. Definitely physically, like being on my feet that long, I hadn't done that in a long time. I think the last time that I did it was, I don't even remember the last time that I did it. Was, I think, probably last Adepticon was probably the last time that I did it. Because Gen Con, I didn't make the cut. And then Nova, I made the cut, but I lost on the first game in the cut. So this was the first time that it was like an extended 2 days. So that probably had something physically, just like not being up to it. Um, but where I think that the fatigue hit the most was in the muscle memory of like just not playing on table and playing on tabletop simulator a little too much relative to be playing on the table, because once I started getting tired and I started like maybe not peeking all the way over and being super clear, my I hit rocks. I bumped myself. I was like I started getting really not messy with the templates, but I started getting really messy with my measuring distances and stuff like that, and eyeballing like, yeah, I can make this, and then realizing like, man, my bullseye's like 3 feet away from like it's like way off.
It's like that's
That's
definitely a bullseye,
that's
and you measure it, and it's like I I don't even know what I was thinking.
that's
So
that was exactly my experience. All the time, I would just be like, you know what? You got to get the fight. I'm going to put 5 forward at a dial. Like, I don't like not having the, uh, I don't know the exact way of swinging, but like just trying to eyeball things that I would normally like precision look at because it's so easy to do on, uh, online. But in person, though, you got to make those snap decisions. You got to just know, hopefully, that the 3 bank clears the rock or something like that.
yeah, yeah, and I'll give you a perfect example of where like the fatigue comes in. And this was still when it was meaningful. So losing my third game. Um, so the third game that I lost, the one that officially took me out, um, I I still had the opportunity to win. The only difference was I was planning on the win 2 turns later, and there was 1 round left, and that was I think a round that went to like 77 minutes or something like long. So if I had just more awareness, which I had in day one, like in day one, I was constantly looking at the clock. Okay, like I know when I'm starting to plan for my last round or the last 2 rounds. Like that just snuck up on me. Like, oh, game over. I'm like, oops. I thought we were still like a couple rounds in to go. So those type of things is mostly like stuff that on day one I was present to, I was aware of. Like I was thinking of 5 different things at the time. Not how much time is left. And on day two, where the fatigue kicked in, I couldn't concentrate on multiple things. I was like, please don't hit that rock. Darn it. And then, oh, time. So it was that type of thing. So yeah, so definitely gonna have to prep my body and go into X-wing workout mode before the next big event.
Insert training montage here. Yeah, it was again, great run for both of you, and good question there, James. I mean, I know for us, it's obviously a very different we're flexing a different muscle in our brain than playing. But definitely by those last games, like I'm already a pretty distractible person. I think you guys know that already. I have to try to I really, when I'm zoned in, I'm really, really good at almost anything that I'm doing. But if I get sidetracked, I become very bad very fast. So
Yeah, it would be like there'd be something happening on the other side of the hall, and Dion was just like what was that over there?
yeah.
And
So
it would just be distracted.
towards the end, I put literal blinders on myself. I had my hand by my head and just the monitor in front of me and just looking there. It's like I can't even look at James right now. I know he's there. He'd be in my ears talking to me. But yeah, I had my hands by my head and just bearing down, staying focused. Nothing else. Oh man. It was pretty great. Yeah, it was fun. And I know like some people came by, just to say hi and stuff like that. But towards the end, if I'm ever at an event and you see my hands just by my head, just leave me alone. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's that I don't have the mental capacity to talk to you and be good at my job at that moment. Gonna have to make a special flight helmet that just like has blinders on it or
There you
something.
go. Get a big GSP helmet.
Yeah.
that you have to wear with like the like the Jedi blinder, like where they had the
Yeah.
blast shield
I
on
mean,
the
we
eyes.
Isofane already got us. I don't know if you guys can see in the picture. We already got like a Mandalorian style helmet. We just got to install like a LCD screen in it, and I'll be good. I'll be good. I'll be super focused. The most focused I've ever been.
When you put it on, do you just like immediately sound like Pedro Pascal, or is it like practice?
This is the way. It helps. It definitely adds some like lower tones in there with the sound all jumbled up. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's get into the competition. I think we go ahead and we start by taking a look at our bracket made by our team here. Here it is. Just absolutely great job by all these players. Want to give a quick shout out to all of them. They worked really, really hard, and just a testament to their work. And actually, this reminds me. During our broadcast, I was listing off world champions, and I got called out on Reddit because in the moment, in all my excitement, I forgot to list a couple. So I am going to right the wrongs by reciting, not from memory, because obviously my memory failed me in that moment, but reciting from my notes here all the world champions that we've had. So obviously, Nicholas God won the 2023 World Championships, and we had a huge break after that. Oh, where's my notes? One moment, please. Awkwardly waiting.
Insert Jeopardy song here.
Correct. Well, I say my notes. I actually typed it. I typed it out on the person who called me out in the post. I just replied to them and left it for future. I was like, oh, for future, anybody who needs this information, here it is. They may have deleted their comment. Does it delete everything underneath it when you do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think collectively we might be able to remember.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, it just got downloaded to oblivion because they were being a jerk. Because all the way at the bottom. So Nicholas God, 2023. Then obviously 2020 to 2022, there was no world champion. 2019 was won by Oliver Pocknell. 2018, Simeon Delapina. 2017, Justin Pua. 2016, Nan Torfs. He was the one I forgot. Sorry, Nan, if you ever hear this. Good guy. 2015, 2014, and 2013 were won by Paul Heaver, and our first ever world champion was Doug Kinney. So there you go. Nicholas God joins the ranks of those great X-Wing players. Let's go ahead and start by taking a look at his list. Let's go ahead, click, clap, and this means we have the first order being our championship faction. If that will load. If not, I have the text version. There it is. Can you guys see that okay? There it is. All right. So,
Yep.
Will, what was our championship winning list?
All right. It was an FO list with, of course, that core for Malorus with Magpulse, Gaelic with the elusive ion cannon, DT elusive optics, Scorch elusive fanatical advanced optics. Then I used the 8 remaining points for Backdraft with elusive and optics, really leaning into that combination. And of course, Special Forces Gunner. Then Ember taking elusive. And you would think optics, but it's actually Lone Wolf, keeping it out as a flanker in a 6-ship build. We've seen a lot of the variations on this. Marcel was running one. I was running one. It looked like 29 people were running. It seemed like a combination of these style pilots, but the efficiency of the list, the what do I want to say, just survivability. That yeah, everybody having a lot of health, a lot of defensive rerolls with that elusive, and then even the debuffs of the mag pulse and iron cannon really was able to uh, make it all the way through to the top cut.
Well, Ryan's not here, but I'll go. No, he took a break. Yeah. So the runner-up list was Andrew Cox with the. This is not it, is it? Oh yeah, with Tie Fighter, Battle of Yavin, Backstabber. Say also had Battle of Yavin, Mauler, and Battle of Yavin, Darth Vader, better known as Vader and the Boys. For his 3-point Tie Fighter support, he went with Iden Versio with Elusive and Ion Cannon. There was a lot of variation. This is probably where the most variation happened in this list archetype is with that 3-point TIE fighter support. A lot of people opted for the overtuned cloaked Moff Gideon. Um, and I think that was probably the most popular choice. Turns out Iden Versio was the correct choice. And then followed up with TIE Reaper with Captain Pharaoh and Seven Sister as the crew. I think probably the closest to to the most played. I don't know the numbers, but I would guess this is. I mean, I personally saw. Actually, I personally did not see any of these, but I was surprised. Well,
We
I
do
don't
know
know
we
the
can
numbers.
find out the numbers. James, pull that up.
Mm.
I got the numbers. What are you asking? The most
Just
flown one?
Vader and the boys.
Vader was flown second, technically third. Most flown ship, the boy version of Vader at 26. It doesn't look like. Let's
That
see
doesn't take
here.
into account the LCQ, but yeah, on the
No. This is just looking at
1 through 10.
the worlds.
Yeah.
Then 13 list had the boys added in with that Vader version.
Yeah, I see a couple of boys, Faroff and Gideon. Boys, Iden, Faroff. It looks like Iden is the more common ship with that archetype.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, both of these
Yep.
lists. One of the things, just kind of to point out, is the only force user, like there was no force using pilots. We did have a force in the list on Captain Faroff, but other than that, no force using pilots in the final. Now, let's go ahead, and we do need to talk about how the game actually went, because I think there are some important points that I want to bring up because it's being talked about. And I'm not gonna stick my head in the sand about it, because I think it's important to let cooler heads prevail, because there's some emotional talking out there happening. So the game ended in a tie, and Nicholas, with the roll, was able to on a player roll was able to win. That was the rule put forth at the beginning of the tournament during elimination. There were no time extensions or anything like that, and that is with the final becoming part of basically to match all the other games. That is how it was done, because you cannot have a draw in elimination. It doesn't work. Otherwise, like you'd be like top 8 draw, you both lose, goodbye. That's effectively how that would work. But anyway, so it's determined by a player roll. Now, if you actually watch the game and you take it apart and you're completely detached from who your favorite person is, if you wanted this faction or that faction or this person, that faction, whatever. There was one turn, James, one turn, and it happened in the middle of the game that determined whether or not Nicholas had a chance to stay in that game, because that is, and I think Grimwolf in our chat said it best. We have to. I think it's important to point out the fact that overall Nicholas could have been for a while was behind in the game. And because of whether it was a choice or a mistake, but because of an event that happened in the round, a choice that was made in the round, made it so that Nicholas had a chance to tie it, continued to fight, lots of dice going back and forth, ships blowing up at the end, and made it so that the tie was possible. What was that thing, James?
I hope I'm thinking of the right thing, but it was Vader.
Yes. Yes.
Getting out of the middle of the only objective in chance engagement, not maintaining range 2 of that objective after that 4K, really allowed Nicholas to gain a small advantage that was able to force the tie in the middle of the game. But I think something that also we we a little talked a little bit about was at the end of the game where Captain Faroff took that sloop at the bottom right of the board, and both Malorus and Ember could have gone down there to finish Faroff off very easily, but chose to defend the middle with those 2 ships. So
That was so I've it wasn't a conscious choice, and he can confirm if he was here, but the dials were flipped. The 5 forward was supposed to be on Ember to chase down. So the dials were set.
So hold on, wait. Let's use names so that we know exactly what we're talking about. Somebody who's not
Nicholas.
didn't watch. Okay, what happened with Nicholas? Because this is something I don't know.
That he was either nervous or tired or something, and assigned the wrong thought the dials that he put down were for the wrong ships, and the 5 forward on Gaelic to what seemed like to cover the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Was actually supposed to be on Ember to kill
to chase down Faroff, because
that's why it looked like it was kind of weird that he went the wrong way.
Yeah,
and also blocked himself. Like that whole thing was just the dials were assigned to the wrong ships, and
so you're telling me even gods bleed here.
Well, not really, because he was just trying to make it more fun, right? With the suspense at the end. I mean,
the suspense.
Yeah. But anyway, again, it's better to come from his mouth, but that's the word on the street.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna put that as speculation until we hear it directly from the source. But I mean, that was definitely something that James and I talked about. Was like oh man, he should go down there for Faroff. He's got these moves, and then when it didn't happen, we were like, oh okay, I guess he was going for that other TIE fighter in the end. I think it was Mauler. Was it Mauler or Backstabber, whichever one it was?
I think it was Mauler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mauler ran away.
Yeah. But yeah, so it came down to the wire, and now here is kind of the thing I wanted to mention. Like the fact that it came down to a tie should not, and it won on a roll, should not cheapen the win in any way, shape, or form. Both players played their hardest. They got all the way to the final, and they agreed to a set of rules of engagement. And after the dust settled, Nicholas was on top. Now, for those of you who maybe wish that it was ending a different way, there was a different option, feel free to voice that opinion, maybe when it comes to AMG and talking about different tournament formats and ways to change that. But what bothers me is when I see, and it's not a lot of people, but it's enough people to be noticed, when you're cheapening somebody's championship win. That's not cool, in my opinion. I think, yeah, that's not how I roll. He's our world champion. It is what it is. Because I mean, for me, that's like saying that every dice roll that happened throughout the entire tournament don't matter either.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that. So like a lot of, I mean, how many? I'll point at Will again here. The king of 1-point games in the event.
Oh yeah.
How many of those 1-point games went down to one die roll?
Yeah, like the last
at the very
attack.
last turn. Yeah, the last attack.
Like-
It could have gone one way or the other. So if let's say
one person got natty hits and the other
one
person only got 1 of 8 or something, and that was what did it.
Yeah, so let's say like that round, Nicholas needed to destroy Faroff to win. He was down 1 point. Let's say he was down 1 point. He needed to destroy Faroff to get up on points. Needed those extra 2 points from Chance to get the full from Faroff. And it was exactly a 50-50 dice roll that determined it. But would we have called it that? Would we have called that a dice roll to determine the game?
It just would have been an attack. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are saying that dice roll shouldn't have determined it. It's like dice roll determined.
That's what the game is, bro.
Every
what
single
are you
time.
doing?
So there's some positioning in there. There's 50-50 like bluffs, but ultimately it comes down to did you roll dice in the important time?
Yeah. And exactly.
And Nicholas rolled dice at the important time.
At the important time. All right. And you know what? The other thing we gotta address. We gotta talk about it. Yup. Right. Shake it. Drop. Stroke. Pick up. Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
That dice cup is famous.
I don't know how many times we got in the chat. Him stroking that cup is making me uncomfortable.
It's amazing. It is amazing. We're gonna make a moving emote with just a finger on top of the cup, like it's in construction now, like it's happening. All right, and it'll be there. That is our homage to our world champion for this year.
I would like to bring up though that the whole dice cup thing and the additional stroking of it for whatever superstition level it is to make him feel like additional luck. I personally do not want that to become a lightning rod in the effect of, I don't want a lot of people adopting that one. Because
no, you're gonna have to find your own little technique.
I don't want there to be any technique. I'm gonna be real. Like,
okay,
it's minute, but 6 ships, red dice, green dice. It's technically taking time away from the game. Let's be real. Like,
yep, they did only
Nicholas
get 5
Todd's a great guy. That is not the reason he won. Like, he played great. He knows how to fly his ships. We've known he's been great. He is a absolutely deserving world champion. But the whole dice cup thing, and I know he's been doing it for a long time. He did it back at the last Worlds. I faced him in top 32. I just don't want the community to like, oh, I should do this too.
Nah,
it's only gonna lead to a neutral or negative thing, in my eyes.
Yeah.
Please tell me if you disagree, but like, it's technically not FFG or AMG official. It's not meant to be part of the game.
Can you include dice trays in that as well?
I would too. Yeah.
So you're telling me that him stroking the cup was not why he won the game?
No, wasn't why he won the game. But it is like, if each extra stroke of the cup is 5 seconds, and you have 6 ships on the board, 30 seconds, 2 times if they roll on green dice and red dice, potentially a whole minute per round. Like, we're talking for 5 rounds, that's 5 whole minutes gone in just estimation, right? Like,
Right.
I'm not trying to like put fire onto this, but I don't want it to become a thing for a lot of people.
Right, but at the same time, so we have to. There's also
It's
people
a touchy
who just.
subject. I get it.
Oh yeah. There's also people who just shake the dice for a super long time too, right? Same,
I've dealt with that too.
right? So
I've had shuka guy.
Yeah. So there's a few things. So two things. One of them is that it's true. It can take time. The extra shakes or something or any type of reoccurring thing. The other thing to consider though is that in many situations it's either unconscious or it's needed for a level of self-calming stress. Like it's I have certain things that especially when I drive or something like OCD type things that if I don't do a level of anxiety builds up and it so we can't be like too if it's something that's been recurring and it's something that happens for years then it's kind of a self-calming thing. um we got to be careful with that. And then the other part, more importantly, is that there is a rule. I mean, not a rule, but there's kind of a thing to do for that. If you feel that something that your opponent is doing is taking longer and it's making you um you feel like it's taken away from the game, those are the moments that you just call the judge and say, "Hey, judge, this is happening,"
yep,
and push the game forward if it's something that you think should not be
right.
happening.
And it's
Yeah, and-
just
No, and I really appreciate you bringing up
it's
the
true.
anxiety stuff of that. Like, that's not something I'd considered. So that's good to mention that it is different for everyone in that aspect. And the part two of what you mentioned, I do not think like so. A lot of people are clamoring onto the whole tie part of the final. For me, I'm more concerned about the fact that that final was 5 rounds. That is it. We didn't reach a conclusion. We got to 13. Now, granted, I don't assume every single chance engagement. Chance engagement and salvage are kind of like the two objectives to me that get the are least likely to hit 20 points if you're
Yeah.
going to compare all the scenarios reaching 20 points as a conclusion type
For
of
sure.
thing. But got a barely above half essentially. You got 5 rounds, which was I would say below average. To me, that's more
that's
of a
from
issue
our
to
data.
me than the tie even being a thing. I don't care if a tie happens 25-25 or if it happens like 15-15 or whatever. But what I would be concerned about, and this is not only dealing with the cup adding time. This is all aspects, right? Both
players
it is
were
the world's
slow on
final.
dials.
Both players
Yeah.
wanted to really think about stuff.
Yep.
But I think it's on all parties, both players and all the judges there, to have had an ability to mention or help increase the pace of play to a more average level.
Well, so the judges did ask the players to speed up. That did happen. Okay, Will
Okay,
reported
that I
that
did
to
not
us.
hear.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
Yeah,
confirming.
that was round 3. At the end of round 3, the judges were like, "There better not be only one more round left in this game." Like,
yeah, they did ask them to
is
speed
Okay.
up.
more or less what they didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing, but like they expressed that there needs to be more rounds in this game
Sure.
than
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
Now,
I had,
so
the 3 they had played so
because
far
remember,
in like
like
1
it was
hour.
like
or
3
so.
rounds, and they were like almost 45 minutes into the
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah, it was pretty far into it. But I mean, that. So it is tie swarm on tie swarm. The joust, because there's so many like line troops, you know what I mean? So many jousting ships on either side. Like it was going to be a joust. So that turn 2 engagement is going to be more important than it would be in like other matchups with like, say, chasing down Jedi or Darth Vader Defender or Boba Fett flying around. They had to find like chance with 2 swarmy lists. I understand why that the first 2 rounds you better be sure you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Turn, especially deployment as well. Like, to be fair, they got to start that timer without using any of it for deployment. There was plenty of times in
Yeah, we started it once the dials were down, ready to go.
yeah, there was plenty of times in Swiss to where I'm 5 maybe
Yeah.
7 minutes into setting up.
Players late to the table, or they're having trouble setting up. They have a lot of ships. They have a lot of cards.
Mhm.
Because at the event we had all official cards, so no infinite arenas or anything like that. So
Mhm. Yeah, fighting for your
Yeah.
space too, trying to make sure you can get
yeah,
a little bit of room,
elbows.
a little bit of room for your templates, and maybe
Will,
get some
Marcel,
tokens out.
let me
Yeah,
ask you guys,
mm.
because a lot of people are mentioning in the chat, like, oh, there was this many ships on the board. What would you say your average turn count was in your? Because you guys both ran 6 ship lists, so
5
you
for me.
commonly had
5. ahead.
had like 11 ships total on the board, because the average of 5 or 10 to 11 ships on the board. So
did-
were you? I guess how many rounds do you think you averaged when you had to go to time?
I went to time almost every game, if not every game, and I probably averaged 5 turns a game, or 5.5, something like that. I don't think.
Did
I
you always
averaged
play
6.
5 though? You never played 4 rounds.
I
Though.
played a 4-rounder.
Oh,
It was-
that's
it
right.
was-
Against the other TIE Swarm.
It was a 6 FO against the 6 FO in chance engagement, and we only got 4 rounds because
Yeah.
chance engagement. He took his 6 FO, I took my 6
Mhm.
FO, and we just
Yeah, I was playing next to you at
bumped.
that time. I looked
Yeah.
over and
And it was
I
like
looked
it was
over. I
6
couldn't
ships in
tell
the
who
center of
was
the board.
who.
Yeah,
You all had you all
I mean, it was
you all
12
had
ships in the middle of the
similar.
board, and we
Oh,
bumped
man,
each
it was a
other
mess.
for like starting because he started off 5 forward. I started off 5 forward, and
Yeah,
round
ew.
2 we had 12 ships in the center of the board.
I think that was when I was trying to get your guys' food order, and I walked
Yeah,
over and I was
yeah, it
trying to
was
I was like, how's
pure
Marcel
chaos over
doing?
there.
Is like does he have a break to like talk real quick? And I was like, there are 12 FO TIE fighters on this board, and they're all the same pilot.
and
Like,
they're
like
all
mirrors.
within
Yeah.
the round.
Yeah, they're all
They're all
similar.
within the range 2.
And everyone's at a different angle because they got bumped at some point
Yeah.
in time.
So yeah, I had a 4.
Okay, that was fair.
round
That
game.
that one was only 4 rounds, sure, I guess. But so for me, the I tried to get 6. I did have a 10-round game at one point in time. But I would say I was trying to get 6 then. Average of 6. It did have some 5-round games.
So
And I assume some of those
Ryan,
ended early or actually did get to the full score.
So Ryan, one thing I want to throw out there though, just to be clear for our audience, from the data that we have collected, like 5 to 7 is what I would call a normal game. It was barely 5. Let's admit that it was barely 5, but both players again were very what's the word? I don't want to use. Obviously, they were tactical. Meticulous. It is. Taking the words right out of my brain.
Because normally, like if there's like a turn maneuver, like I'll just do side to side. If it's gonna run over somebody, side to side. If I'm doing like a 2 straight and it's over somebody, I'll use the 4 straight.
Yeah.
On the side.
Just hover the template.
Or like
and put it down at the edge.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. But every time they did a maneuver, they marked the ship that was moving. They were moving through. They did the maneuver and they put the ships back. At one point, I think they had 3 ships marked for one maneuver. And
that's
the right thing to do.
By the time we were actually done with that game, after the roll off, 84 minutes had elapsed total. Just kind of for reference of how the fullness of the game ended up going when we were actually concluded. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, while could there be solutions, changes, is it okay to discuss these things? Yes. But don't disparage the accomplishments because for both players, both of them worked really, really hard. And I want to talk about that game. I want to talk about how they played, their decision making, because that's how we're going to become better X-Wing players out there. That's what I want to focus on as a community. That's what I like to see be focused on. All right, my voice is starting to go again. Boo.
I had like one day to recover
Yeah.
from talking.
All right, so let's jump into our top 4 because this is where we start getting to some spicy lists, some more spicy lists. Guys, we underestimated the Rebel Alliance just a little bit.
I think we both over and underestimated because they had the lowest faction representation and the highest cut rate of anyone else. So it only had less than 7% of the representation in the field was Rebel, but that cut rate was 15% for Rebel. The next highest is 6.6 with Scum. So a 15% cut rate with Rebels for that event.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, here we go. Who hasn't bred out a list yet? Take it next, but Ryan.
All right, are we just confirm Andrew Cox list or Bartosh?
Bartosh.
Bartosh. He was running what he had, some people may have seen online recently from his Kyber Cup team event, and I can't recall if he brought to STO or not. I think I talked to him and it was mainly Kyber Cup that he uses. But Boy Han, the Battle of Yavin Han. We have Keo Venzi with a proton rocket. We have Tycho Chelchu with trick shot, composure, heavy laser cannon, mag pulse, warhead. Arvel with crack shot, predator, and Derek with marksmanship and concussion missiles. So Han and 4 A-wings. People are probably losing their minds if they listen to anything that we generally had to say about the Rebels or the general community had to say about the Rebels over the past 2-3 months, probably. Bartosh has been a known A-wing player, connoisseur, for a long time. Back from his using Resistance A-wings, I believe he spent a lot of time with Rebel A-wings even before then, and obviously still picking them up now, and really utilizing them in a slightly different manner. I think I didn't get a chance to watch many of his games, but the way some people described how he played was one, he very aggressively.
Aggressive and fast.
Shot up the board.
Aggressive and fast. That's two words.
Everything went fast, but also he had to make sure he had a lot of open lanes and space to do what he wanted to do and allow the A-wings get into spots where they didn't need the vector thruster boost to help when Han hits someone to get him a coordinate in engagement to then say, okay, now I'm going to lock boost and maybe get Keo a full modded proton rocket. Or I'll get a barrel roll boost to get Tycho his HLC. Or I'll get a boost for Arvel into a range 0 so I can shoot them better than they can shoot me. Or get Derek a lock and then he can boost if he needs to for concussion missiles. A variety of things. But Han's ability, as a reminder, though, he still needs a ship to be in normal coordinate range.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a special like Hondo coordinate or anything that reaches out to range 3. It's still like after you perform an attack that hits, you may spend 1 charge, which he has 4 of. They don't reoccur. He gets 4 the entire game to perform a coordinate action. That's the same charge pool, though, from the solo ability. While you defend or perform an attack, if there are no other friendly ships at range 0 to 1, you may spend 1 charge to reroll 1 of your dice. So kind of like a better lone wolf, but you don't have it all game. You are limited. So he had to manage his resources very well with that too, along with making sure the A-wings were in position to not only have the chance to pounce, but also contest objectives as he needs to for all his scenarios. So a lot of experience and times of practice and commitment to this list really showed at this event. When he started off the main event 7-0, he only undefeated for a long time until he lost 2 games in a row, but closed out his final game and made it into the cut and into the top 4. Whereas he didn't get his full revenge of the Swiss. He did face Andrew Cox in Swiss. Andrew Cox was his first or second loss, I believe, in Swiss. And then they faced up again in the cut, where a lot of us would assume the the whole moniker of Revenge of the Swiss would occur. But if it's not the same scenario, maybe it's not always Revenge of the Swiss, because it's Revenge of the Swiss was a thing when we didn't have scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
With scenarios, you're playing a potentially new game completely, and you're just playing out a different scenario that may or may not have the same advantage for the list that won the first time. So, but great run by Bartosh. I'm really interested to potentially try this list myself. I'm pretty sure James is too. Someone who's loves some Rebel A wings. Um, Not sure if I'd move around some upgrades myself. I mean, it all makes sense. There's some things I may prefer more one or the other, but I'm not completely like this should be this. I mean, he's way more experienced with this archetype and has fine tuned it with many games in practice. So, congratulations to him, and great showing by someone who's perfected and showed a commitment to a list, which I think what we're potentially learning is it, there there clearly are an overarching factions that are generally better than others. But if as long as you have the reps and the commitment to a list that's at baseline good,
Mm-hmm.
any good list a player can turn into a winning list. You just have to have the experience, the reps, and the knowledge through multiple scenarios against multiple lists that you expect to be there that are quote good, or pieces that have been good, that you can make anything like these, because all these rebel pieces are generally good. I have not been convinced by Boy Han up until now, basically.
Yeah, that's somebody you worked out this time. Now, talking about Revenge of the
I want to point
Swiss.
out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dion. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. Talking about Revenge of the Swiss, we had Bartosz on for our top 8 game, I believe, and his match versus Corentin was also a rematch from Swiss that Bartosz had won the first time and was able to win it again on a different scenario, though. So again, Revenge of the Swiss, if you're in a different scenario, not always the case. What were you going to say, Will?
I want to point out a correlation between this list and the next one, and it's actually Derek Clivian. Derek, this is the only Derek Clivian in the entire World's tournament. The next list has a one of the only tin nub in the entire tournament. The ninth place person, Crispy, was actually the only Wrath in the tournament as well. The It's interesting to see then that these unique lists, something that nobody else is flying, be successful. It wasn't actually the copy pasta fly what everybody else is flying that made it this high in the tournament. It was interestingly enough, very unique combinations of pilots.
That's awesome. Well, let's go ahead, James. Let's break down Mario Nunez Jimenez and his unexpected Rebel list. A list that he said that his friends made fun of him for bringing to the World Championship. Laugh now.
His opponents made fun of them too.
Yep.
Yeah, his opponents made fun of him too, and he set it down and said, "Alphabet Squadron, what are you doing?" But he showed them, made it all the way to top 4 with a very unique, is one way to say it, Rebel list. Has Wes Jansen and Aaron Crackett at Initiative 5. Wes has those proton torpedoes, of course, and R4 Astromech to help out with some extra blue maneuvers and the proton torpedoes. I'm going to come back to those because we need to see the whole list in entirety, because Wes is good. All of these pilots are good by themselves. These are all good pilots.
All serviceable.
Yeah, all serviceable. But when you put it all together, that's where the real magic happens. So Aaron Kraken has elusive plasma torpedoes. Kraken has that coordinate-like ability after he fires, that range 1, not range 2, though. Kyo Vinci in the A Wing with concussion missiles and elusive. Interestingly, down a loadout value. So at 7 out of 8, chose to go with elusive over a possible crack shot or something similar there. We have Dutch Vander in the Y Wing. This is the customizable Dutch. Has proton torpedoes and Tirfon belly run. Just filling out that entire loadout with just proton torpedoes. And then the real spicy bit, the P Resistance there has 10 num and the B Wing. With of course it has elusive jamming beam and that proton torpedoes and the stabilized S foils configuration. So that is 3 instances of proton torpedoes, 1 instance of plasma torpedo, and a concussion missile. Ideally, the prefer like how this is supposed to work, and we did see it a little bit in one of our games from the Swiss, where he was able to get Kraken to shoot first, coordinate Dutch a lock after his fires lock. Dutch gives that lock to Wes. Wes fires the proton torpedo. Dutch fires their proton torpedo. Then 10 and Keo finish up. 10 is usually able to get those like barrel roll locks off as well. We didn't see too much of it because his opponents knew about it. That's the one kind of downfall of the B Wing is that it is kind of predictable. It's like, oh, you're gonna one straight barrel roll focus or one straight barrel roll lock. So they are kind of predictable, but 10 is able to flip the script a little bit by using that stress to get rid of that stress as a focus. But we saw this list absolutely just tear apart some enemy ships just from top to bottom. Just like, get out of here. This is no longer your time to play the game. You are getting alpha off this board here. Did anyone have the opportunity to go against this list in the event?
Yeah, I was the one that was saying that I spent like 5 minutes talking about. This is the one where I told him he can rotate and 10
Oh, really?
10 not
Yep.
one shotted because I already had a 4 hulled my range 3 whisper round 2. So it was this one. It was and it ended at one point. It was really close. But to be fair, um my list with 2 whispers that cannot be target locked and then can jam you nonstop after that to prevent those target locks was probably the worst possible matchup that he could get, just
Mm-hmm.
because he cannot do any of the things that he wants to do. Um,
Well,
so it was a really bad matchup
getting
for him, and he won it. So that kind of goes to
Yeah. part of
show
winning a
like
tournament
just
and
how
going
good he
deep in
is.
a tournament is also about the luck of the draw. And luckily, he only ran into one list like yours.
He won.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of how it went, I mean, he won, and is
Thanks to the kindness of Marcel.
no, thanks to honestly, thanks to um it's ultimately the play, because we all have those turns where something doesn't go the right way, and it's how you respond. And I didn't respond, like I didn't snap out of it in time to like get back into it, and he took advantage of it, and then he won
Yeah,
all the other games as well.
yeah. This rebel list has um, a very huge. I'll say it's a huge piece of armor with those proton torpedoes. Like it's a just go along with me here with this analogy, but a huge piece of armor on the front, right? But as soon as anyone can slip into the side and stick it, like it's like I prepared for anyone to joust me. I can out joust anything. But if someone slips in the side, it's just a little tiny dagger right into that right into that soft bit behind the armor by using stuff like just flanking in general, but also using jam mechanics like Marcel mentioned, using unconventional a little bit ion mechanics, where if you have those ionization, if you are ionized, you cannot have locks or you know obviously perform the lock action, so it'll break your lock as well. So and we did see it where the enemy list had a lot of ion and jam, both, and it was just couldn't get anything off. Couldn't get a single proton torpedo. I had to work his butt off to get a proton torpedo off, and it did finally work, but really slowed down that Rebel Alpha.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's slide into our top 8 now. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at Corentin and his top 8 list. He flew a Separatist list, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this is it. Let me just double check. Yes, it is. Here we go. So here is his Separatist list. The big piece in here, this is kind of a common archetype that we did see and have been seeing lately. Jango Fett, Notorious, Jamming Beam, Savage Press, Proton Bombs, Slave One, Veteran Tail Gunner, and the choice as the illicit being Dead Man Switch, which we did see end up mattering in a game on stream. General Grievous, outmaneuver Impervium Plating, Solus 1, just the standard there. Bombardment Drone with Proximity Mines, Independent Calculations, and Struts. And then Dirge, Elusive, Xanadu Blood, and Proton Bombs with the Proton Cannon as well. And James, I would say before this weekend, I had not taken Proton Cannon as seriously, but getting an opportunity to see it used consistently in players that are really good at getting bullseye, man, Proton Cannons are kind of scary. All right, let's keep it going. Next we have Nathan Idy. Nathan Idy is a name.
Hold on. I don't think that's not Corentin's list.
Yeah,
That's Pierre's.
I think that is Pierre. Yeah.
Oh,
Corentin's was an Empire.
Yeah, Corentin had the Empire one.
I
Looking
was
at the brackets. He had an Empire logo next to him.
Oh, I got bamboozled here then by our notes. Well, we can fix that. I have all the tabs right here. Let's take a look. Sorry, Corentin. You had an Empire list. Oh, I'm remembering now. Yes. Darth Vader in the TIE X1, Soontir Fel, Shield Upgrade, Predator, Crackshot, Iden Versio, Moff Gideon, and a Black Squadron, back Squadron Ace. Now I'm remembering his top 8 game. I think he lost. James, tell me if I'm wrong about this. I think he lost Vader early, and then called the game once Soontir went down.
Yeah, it was pretty. That does sound about right. Had a really unfortunate turn of events there for both Darth Vader and Soontir. I think Soontir had a 3 or 4 die blank out to just die to one attack.
Mm-hmm.
So very unfortunate. But Corentin I think we had him on day 2 as well.
Yes.
Where he had a great game.
Yes, absolutely did. Now, I want to take a second and take a moment to talk about Soontir Fel. Is a pilot that people have been staying away from, guys. We know Oliver Pocknell, previous world champion, also brought Soontir Fel. Let's take a look at Pattern Analyzer. Do we see how many Soontirs were in the tournament? Was it only 2? Let's see. 5. 5 people brought the Ace of Legend. What are people doing with that ace that I'm so bad at?
I mean, it's still the same Soontir Fel as ever. It's still an evade reposition focus or a double reposition focus. The only difference is that now you've got additional toys to play with,
Hmm.
or you got an extra shield. So I
Mhm.
mean, what is the loadout on him? 10?
Predator, crack, and shield.
Shield.
Yeah, I mean Predator, crack, and shield. Like that's you can
Yeah, you
double
come
it.
in for one good range one focus, predator, crack shot. Then you bail if need be, or
Well,
keep
evade
find the next
focus.
target.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true. Evade, boost into range one. Yeah.
yeah, evade, boost, get your focus, crack shot, predator. I mean, it's a ship that I haven't used a lot, and I'm surprised other people haven't used a lot because it's still such a powerful list. I
It,
mean, ship.
it's just so many points to lose on one bad defense roll. It's
Is
it's
that why
Yeah.
people
It's
haven't been using it?
can Yeah, I want you to compare it to a ship in Nathanides' list that is very similar. 4 health, I6, double repositions, gets free mods. Loves the bullseye as well. To me, Soontir is maybe not a worse version of Anakin, but it's certainly a very similar ship that doesn't have the Force. And that's really his only problem is
well,
that
he has
if you're
a
not,
I'll say he has a one-time force for that bullseye when he
yes,
gets the focus. He has a one-time
but
force.
that means if you're only getting benefit if you're bullseye, if you're trying to run away, if you're trying to arc dodge and you have to barrel and boost to avoid a range one shot, but still someone's shooting you from the
Like
just
range 3 even.
yeah, range three through rock. But that's what does surprise me about this list. There is no support for them, is there? It's just with a bunch of like line troop TIE fighters.
I don't know
So
if I take Soontir and Empire if I don't also have a Vader. Like, I don't think Soontir can be the lone I6 ace in your Empire list. He's
And
meant to
maybe that's the call.
partner
We got a
these
Darth
boy
Vader that's cheap
Vaders.
enough.
We got Darth Vader to see
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, but
I
I
mean
think
this is not like an old list archetype though. Like I remember flying this in hyperspace. Vader Soontir and 3 academies. Like it just
But these
turns out
aren't
it
academies.
still
These we
works.
got
Yeah, well, these are not
Iden.
academies.
Yeah, they're much better. I think we got to upgrade to
Yeah,
the TIE fighters. You got to actually pay
yeah,
attention to them a little bit.
that's true. Sure. Yeah, Gideon doing his best Malorus impression with overtuned and cluster missiles.
All right. Well, let's keep moving it on here. I already read out this one, so I'll just again Pierre Bouffier brought that Jango Fett and friends list that I read out earlier: Jango Grievous, Bombardment Drone, and Dirge. Very effective use of the proton cannon. We got to see him twice, or maybe it was just once on stream. But we got to see him play, and just a really good use of it. Dead Man Switch also very effective, and played just overall a really good game. The next one I want to take a look at is Nathan Idy. You just mentioned it, Will. Let's go ahead and break it down. Nathan Idy's Republic list.
So it starts with that Anakin Skywalker, not in the 7B like we've been expecting here. This is the regular CLT version with Chopper and Predator. Chopper's still great with CLT, with the Aether Spray Anakin's ability to clear stress after a maneuver. Predator for that calibrated laser targeting. You line up a bullseye on somebody, and you get double mods basically for free. 3 if you count the Force for that attack. Great ship. Kind of using what we've been traditionally seeing as the sock and stub, and combining two of those ships into a single entity there. Because the remaining list is Contrail. This is customized Contrail, though, with Crackshot R4 P17. That's the actions while you K-turn droid. And delayed fuses for their seismic charges from the Bresh title. all the best things, locking, crack shot for the extra attack, and the bombs, which were I played against them, and the obstacle placement. You got to place the first obstacle and put it right in the center of the board, right where I would want a bunch of ships at some point and time the seismic perfectly. I had to avoid it and take less desirable lanes, knowing that the seismics were on the board. Got kickback, passing invades, and shooting diamond boron missiles, and then the two Arc 170s, Jag and Wolf, not only bringing that 3 dice front arc attack, but the Born for this ability. The penalty for Born for this is a strain. Who cares? You got 9 health. Throw that focus token up to Contrail. Throw it out to Anakin so he can survive his engagements. Plus, you're still 5 ships and 2 medium bases, so Assault and things like Scramble, not bad objectives for you as well. Very great, very good list mixing in like your frontline troops supporting themselves.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And
there's really no support. There's really no support ship. It's just everyone. Everyone helps out everyone a little bit.
I mean, I would say Jag, Wolf, and Kickback are like the line troops, but yeah, they just kind of help themselves. Then you still have 2 aces in there as well. Yeah,
and
very
the
good.
noticeable absence of a LAT gunship, which we have seen a majority
yes.
of players bring a LAT gunship with 7 Fleet Gunner, and that is not present here at all.
And no Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Yeah, no Obi-Wan, no 7B Anakin, no Lat. Like I said, really going more like the Socks and Stub list archetype, but making sure to get that super ace in there. Has any of these lists not had like a true ace list or ship? I know Ember officially an ace, by the way.
No.
No, okay, fair enough.
I
Ember's
would
just-
say there was plenty of the 6 clone archetype at Worlds. I faced it
Oh,
literally
yeah,
3 times.
No, and I mean those pieces, Jag, Wolf, Kickback, a version of Contrail are amazing. So not unexpected to see here in a top cut list.
All right, and last but not least, we have Alex Farley's scum list with our lowest ship count. Take it, Ryan.
So we have our showing of the Boba Kanan Plus. Run down our normal Kanan has the Maul crew upgrade. Boba Fett with Fearless, Slave 1, Ahsoka Tano, Veteran Tail Gunner, free jamming beam, and false transponder codes. I talked to Alex a little bit. He opted to go for false transponder codes instead of contraband cybernetics because he valued not getting locked by Vader early in the game. All those boy Vaders and other lock-based offense from anyone else, Poe Dameron, any other proton torpedo carriers, etc., etc. Malrus. But the 7-point ship is a whole nother story. Something that no one but Alex saw coming, user himself. It was a fire spray. The chassis isn't a surprise.
Not the one you were
Pilot
thinking of,
maybe.
though.
Mr. Hondo Onaka himself, the I-1 fire spray, taking Savage Oppress for the Force user, Marauder title, Veteran Tail Gunner, and Thermal Detonators. So, to remind people what the Hondo pilot can do, the ability is action. Choose 2 non-huge ships at range 0 to 3 of you that are not friendly to each other. Each chosen ship may perform an action that is on your action bar, even while stressed, in the order of your choice, and gain 1 calculate token. So, here's some of the shenaniganery that had been described to me from what Alex was doing. If a ship is ioned, is a good one. oh, I'll give you a focus action. It's the only one you're doing this turn anyway. And then I will give my own Hondo a lock, and then Hondo will get a calculate. Plus, I have Savage Press. Or I have dialed in a blue maneuver already on Kanan. I am going to give Kanan a reinforce. Then he'll do a blue move, and then he'll do an action. Reinforce Kanan, by the way, sounds disgusting. I hate it. I'm glad I don't have to fight it. Or Kanan's about to get pounced on a lot of stuff. But I don't really think the reinforce is going to be enough. How about we give Kanan a boost and then a 4 straight? Goodbye.
A white boost because it's from
Correct. A white boost.
from Hondo's action bar, not Kanan's action bar.
Correct. Give me the white boost in the system phase. Goodbye. I'm Ada Obi.
Even while stressed.
Even while
as
stressed.
well.
So that's why
Yeah.
that red reinforce, like on a maul that's just, or on a Kanan that's just been mauling
Yeah.
all the time, you can still give him the reinforce.
It's like, well, at least I know that he's not gonna have a focus or he's not gonna be able to boost. It's like, well, he can
Actually.
still do either, and he could even be a reinforcing. I don't care. I have 4, 5, 6 stress on my Kanan.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Reducing your attack and just guaranteeing himself one evade.
Yep. And he can. Another thing he can do is that Alex is able to choose the order of the ships that do the action. So he basically will always pick the opponent's ship first. Here, you do your action. I'll see what you do, and respond as to what I would like to do with the action on the ship I choose, whether it is Hondo or Kanan or Boba. There was an opponent in one of his games that boosted their lat towards the board edge and did a 2-turn. And they took about 10 minutes and 2 judges and super enhanced pixelated photos to confirm that ship did not just 2-turn off the board. It did not, but oh my lord, I saw the pictures that was taken and it was like enhanced. Super zoomed in to make sure, because the first picture they took, it was in shadow, so they had to turn on the flashlight on the phone and take a picture to make sure there was enough light to know that ship was still on the board. So basically, Hondo offers some great utility.
Yeah.
And it's an I-1 fire spray. Okay, everyone's like, oh no, I-1, it's gonna get initiative kill. Well, it's fire spray and Kanan's in the list for 1.
Yep.
2, it's a medium base. It's gonna get in your way. It's gonna mess you up. And stop you from doing mostly what you want to do, or make you, as we always talk about before, when you make your opponent make decisions, there's always a chance they pick the wrong decision. Here, would you like an action from Hondo? Here's a decision. I didn't expect to get a Hondo action this turn, but I'm given one. Now what do I do other than focus?
Yeah,
like, that's the safe bet all the time, right? I get a free focus, right? No one's planning on getting a boost.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious if he boosted that lat and it went off the board. That's like, I just killed a 5-point ship for nothing.
For a cool trick.
Apparently, as soon as the person did the boost, he went, uh-oh. So Alex wasn't doing this every turn. He described about 1 to 2 times a game he would use Hondo's ability.
But you use it when it matters, and in a 6-turn game, that's enough. You know, that can be enough. Wow.
Yeah, and like the initiative 1 is almost like a feature, not a bug kind of thing, like a benefit, not like a boon, not a bane kind of thing. Because you guarantee the ability to do your Hondo action if you know where you're going to land.
The other thing is the thermal detonators. You have to imagine a fire spray's flying past you. You turn, and guess what? You're chasing it now, and he gets to drop bombs and then move, and you get to fill in that space where the bombs are every time.
It turns out following a fire spray is a bad idea because of bombs and rear arc shots. And that was actually one thing that, speaking of thermal, that's Alex described, and one of the main ways he used the Hondo ability was His opponent did expect him to drop thermal debts because Kanan was literally right behind Hondo. But Alex knew. He's like, I know what I plan to do with that Kanan. So he gave an action to his opponent, which they took like a focus, a lock, or something. And then Kanan opted to boost and then 3-bank. And now he's not near the bombs. And his opponent was not expecting there to be bombs because Kanan was there with no way out except with a free boost from Hondo.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, congratulations to our top 8 competitors for the World Championships of X-Wing. Congratulations. Well fought. Obviously, it is better to end a streak when you are so close to the championship, but all of you should be very proud of how you did, and it was awesome to be a part of that, bringing that broadcast to the world. Now, our next World Championship section that we're going to talk about are the results of our bold predictions. And Dion is looking pretty good here. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So here we go. We're going over here. Our first category for bold predictions last week before the championships was choose a non-USA country that will be the highest ranking, and we all guessed different countries. Will and I both guessed Canada, and Marcel guessed the Netherlands, which is what Dutch translates to, and Ryan said Singapore. And Canada ended up being the highest from those 3 countries. 1 point to Dion and Will. Keep it going, Marcel.
Next, we said the player who we think will end up highest in the rankings. Will went with old trusty Paul Heaver. Ryan went with Sky Tower Duncan Howard. Myself, I went with the return of the champion Ali Pakdale, and Dion went with like, if we're North Mexico, they're like the double North Mexico, Canada. Cam Murray.
I want to note how close this was, though. So Cam Murray.
I was pretty close because I think didn't Ali?
Cam Murray was 11th. He was one of the only few 7 1 and 2s who had a tie instead of the 7 and 3, and then Ollie was 16th at 7 and 3, and Duncan was 17th at 7 and 3. Like, we all had a pretty good close idea there. The only one was Paul Heaver was a little bit further down the list for Will.
He still won an award, so
yeah,
I think it counts.
I didn't even realize that they were that close. 11, 16, and 17.
Yeah.
What was his final ranking?
What, Paul Heavers?
Yeah.
Great question.
It was 47.
Yeah, I mean, all you guys had guessed people who have been winning tournaments like within this year. Cam Murray just won Galactic. The Galactic Championship. Duncan Howard won Gen Con. Ali obviously a returning champion as well. So makes sense.
For a little
Paul
context
didn't
for
win
you, Will.
that long ago, though.
Well, I mean, you took all the good ones. So I mean, all the people who had won recently. So
a little context for you, Will, as to maybe why Paul is further down. He unfortunately got a pair up into his teammate Andrew Cox. So he just said, you know what, I'm not going to try and take a win from you when you are, because Paul was already knocked out essentially of contention of top 8. So he just decided himself to concede and let Andrew Cox try and push forward into the event. So just like if I was mathematically knocked
turned
out
to really work for Andrew.
You bring
if
up
I was
a great
mathematically
point,
knocked out, Will, and you got the pair down to me in our final round, I would have just conceded to you.
I mean, I actually want to bring up that point of how close, what the requirement was to get into the cut. That you had to get 8 wins, you had to lose only twice, right? The 7, 1, and 2 didn't make it in. You needed 8 wins. Even
Yeah.
the 8 wins got Crispy 9th, which is not in the top cut. So yeah, that's that. All that talk about intentional draws never mattered.
Well,
Let's
it was mostly because
wait,
a
wait.
lot of people didn't intentional draw when they should have.
They could
Well,
have
maybe,
intentional draws and
maybe.
they didn't. But also just got another thing that was brought up and talked about is winning early. And Crispy lost round 1 and 2, and then did the ultimate submarine of going 8-0.
Submarine
From
doesn't work
0
anymore with
2,
strength of schedule.
Strength of
well, it
schedule, win
does,
early.
but
It helps.
but it
It
hurts.
certainly helps get wins, but
But I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like,
the reason why Andrew Cox ends up being our 8th seed versus instead of it being Crispy. Like that is the reason why is that path.
yeah,
You
because
got to
he was
win early.
playing people that were.
little did
Crispy
he know.
probably played more people that ended up not playing on day 2.
Man, thinking about that now, that was unfortunate. Crispy was out of the cut round 2.
Without
of a 10
without
round
even knowing
tournament.
it. Without
even knowing it.
Yeah.
That second loss was enough.
Yeah,
in
Who
round
knows
2.
if anyone
needed-
else would have been the 8-2 and same thing as Crispy, and then maybe a little more of the minute details of strength of schedule as to specifically who.
He needed
Would've-
someone else to
would've done it.
submarine with. He needed a submarine buddy that he could throw into the bus at the last minute.
Yeah,
My
that's
submarine bro.
interesting. Dang. Okay, fair enough. Good to know.
All right. What's our next category for our bold predictions, Will?
We got faction winner. Dion and Brian said Empire. Good guess. Taking the biggest pie chart and throwing a dart or piece of the pie and throwing a dart at it. I said Republic.
strategy.
Also, took the second biggest piece of the pie. But Marcel going with the first order takes the point there.
Picks the correct piece of pie, the chocolate pie
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. The first order was the third biggest. Let's go to the
Third
old
biggest, yeah.
pattern analyzer. Not by much though. 17 for the GAR and 15 for the FO.
Ryan, next one.
Then we said we had to name a pilot that would be in the finals. Dion went with Scorch in the tie FO for FO. Surprisingly, not Commander Malrus, as we expected 100% of first order list, but still got it. Marcel opting for Boba Fett in Scum. Wasn't at least top 8 with Alex Farley. I said Captain Faroff, which did show up in Andrew Cox's list, so I also got that. And then Will said Anakin 7B, which actually there were no Anakin 7Bs in the cut. There was Anakin
Not in the cut.
CLT.
Oh yeah, we're all proven wrong on that.
I do remember Nathan in the last Worlds in second edition. He was one of those players that said, "No, I'm going to take CLT Anakin," while everyone else was still running around with 7B Anakin.
Also, yeah, I want to point out that he ran Wywicken last Worlds, so it brought Anakin back to back.
Yeah, he
Or not
brought
Worlds,
the off Anakins-
Adepticon.
Yeah, the last Adepticon. He brought the off Anakins back to back.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, James, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, that's going to be our pilots most used in Worlds, not the LCQ. But we had Dion with Iden Versio, had 21 instances of that. Marcelo with the Black Squadron Ace, respectable 15. We went with the generic, which is a good bet. And Ryan with Iden Versio as well at 21 instances. Will went with the safe bet, Malorus, which actually wasn't in 100% of list, was in 97%.
Who didn't bring
FO.
Malorus?
Who
Any
is
names?
the
Any names?
The
Any
monster.
names?
We need to have an intervention.
Oh, Malorus just so good. Oh, Marcel, I don't know how your Malorus did, but mine was frustrated opponents living way beyond what she should have.
Yeah, so that non-Malorus list was a Kylo Gaelic. He went with Gaelic instead of Malorus. Scorch, DT, and Phasma.
Great list. wrong, wrong five. Wrong I
Wrong
five.
initiative 5, yeah. But he did end up doing okay there. But yeah, Will, correct choice there, had 29 instances of Malorus for that point.
All right, and then our last one was our Cinderella story, an unexpected pilot in the cut. I had said the original Han from the first iteration of second edition. Marcel had said the original Wedge, Ryan Covenell, and Will Jack Porkins. I'm not giving myself any points, but I'm gonna give myself props that I at least got Han Solo as like. Khan made the cut, just not the one I was thinking of. Wrong one.
Side note: speaking of Covenell, Resistance was the only faction not represented in the cut.
That's
Sad
right.
heroic noises.
Sad heroic noises. Well,
It's a lot of it's the resistance from the pod tables.
call
Oh,
him
got
out!
him.
Wow, you just call him out like that? Dirty. Okay, so
Whoa, what is this?
all right. I know. I'm just going hard right at the beginning. All right. So here's the thing. We are already 2 hours in. Okay, we're 2 hours in. AMG gave us some previews of what's happening. What are some of their upcoming plans? This is my proposal to you, my friends, is that we save this for next week. All right, but let's just give the quick highlights, and we'll get into detail. We'll actually read stuff, enhance, zoom in, and do all this stuff. Here's the quick hits. The YT2400 has been reworked and is around the corner. That's the first thing. Where's my button to change pictures here? That's the first one. They just showed more pieces of the beginner, not the beginner set, the starter set for Rebels. TIE bombers are going to be coming in a separate package where you can buy them.
Looks to be a double pack.
Does look to be a double pack. More bombers. Store championship kits, looking awesome. They're going to be released somewhere around May the 4th. The Children of Mandalore organized play kit, another kit kind of coming in, looks awesome, obviously Mandalore themed. Battle over Endor scenario pack, new one coming, expect new cards, new pilots, also some reworked pilots coming there, including new Wedge and even a new Defender. And also gunboats coming soon as a final teaser that they have coming. But that's it. We're not gonna break anything. I hit the wrong button there. We're not gonna break anything else down in that. Speculate away, think about it, maybe do your own enhancing, but we will break that down for you guys next week. We're back here with the next episode 305 of the Gold Squadron podcast. But for everybody here, before I do the outro, do you guys want any shout outs for worlds and things like that? You want to just give any salutes to?
Can I just give a blanket? I love all of the people that I met over the weekend, each and every one of them, through intense games. I know that there was I was frustrated in games, but I had to do my best to retain my composure. And I know everybody I played, though, I had a wonderful time. Couldn't have had more fun playing 15 games. The stakes are so high. Oh man, it's it was that high level of competitive edge I was looking for, and as well, everybody I got to talk to, have a conversation with, share a beer with, share shots with, share tabletop games with, of all kinds. Oh man, it was the best, and I can't wait to do it again next year.
Marcel?
Yeah, I'm gonna ditto everything that William said. Just everyone that you run into in X-Wing is just an amazing person. And a couple things. Just that, I don't think we've shouted out the staff, the organizer Chris Allen, the people that volunteered, the judges. They did, they did an amazing job. It ran well. It was extremely smooth. Um, people's when there were s- special circumstances, it was handled. So everything went really smoothly. So definitely big shout out to them. Also, uh, one of actually, just real quick shout out. Much love to the people that I hung out with. Um, not just played, but hung out with. Especially some of the people that like from Brazil that I hung out with, Leo, definitely Bartos, and everyone else. The other part is that I've been talking with a couple people that were not at Worlds, and it seems like, and I hope it grows, is starting to replant the seed
There
for
was some
people that
FOMO.
kind of gave
There
it
was some
up.
FOMO.
Yeah. Well, no, no. Actually, fear of missing, like they already missed out. It was more
Right.
like, yeah, like not regret, but like, oh, I'm, I want to do that. I want to be
I
there.
should I should I should have done it. I
Yeah.
should have pulled the trigger and gone. Even if I didn't
Yeah.
have a ticket, even if
So
I didn't plan to play in the LCQ. Yeah.
yeah, so especially, I was talking to some people in Italy, some people in uh, Poland, and just actually Masiaj. He always shows up at Depticon. This is like, you know, he was always here, and he's sent me a picture of the first game he plays in what, like 2 or 3 years. Um, because I think partly because when they see a compatriot do well, like, hey, and hopefully it re-energizes people in Spain, which was struggling their community since they have made somebody in the cut, and some of the other people in Europe, and hopefully they get the kits too, because I know that their distribution is certain a little bit in a lot of those countries.
Well, I know I have a couple of people who I've seen on Facebook that they've spent, okay, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to tell it like it is. They've spent so much energy complaining that we got all the way to Worlds and ended up being like, oh man, I wish I could have been there, when they could have spent their time practicing and learning and diving in. I think that would have been a better placement of energy. Anyway, James.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out Dion, making it easy, making it fun. It really it's it would have been impossible for any of the stream to have happened without Dion and the rest of the GSP team. So big shout out, big clap, a round of applause for the GSP team. Because I really appreciate you guys having me and bringing me in. And then another big shout out to the judge team, of course, and everyone who played on stream. I thought we were gonna get a lot more. I don't want to be on streams, but I think we only got like one or two. Everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's be on stream. I know it's a lot of pressure to be on stream, and I know that's a lot of pressure to be in Worlds. I know that's probably too much pressure to be on stream on Worlds. But we appreciate you guys playing, and appreciate that additional stress on that game. And then I wanted to give a shout out to the AMG staff that were there as well. Courtney, Anne, Will Schick, and also the rest of the Shatterpoint team that was over there doing demos. Because Dion and I had an opportunity somehow. I don't know what happened, but we had an opportunity to actually go get
A game ended
well,
early.
game ended early. Yeah.
Yeah, a game ended
Thank
early,
goodness,
and
right? We
yeah,
had a little bit of a break. We were able to go demo Shatterpoint, and we had a ton of fun. It was a great game, and the AMG staff over there were so nice, so friendly, and I am really excited, so excited about everything X-wing, and for the next year and years to come.
right.
That's a lot already covered. How much more can I even add to this? The event staff, again, I have to mention them again. And I'll go by name: Chris Allen, Tim Horsberg, Chris Sheriff, Chris Mitchell, Josh Taylor, D. Yoon. I think that. Please, uh, fix it. Tell me someone I'm missing if I am. But also, actually, Phil Karsh and Zach Matthews, who also jumped in and volunteered to help the prize table too. Those two were, as Chris Allen mentioned, were actually extremely helpful because even Chris Allen, the overall event organizer, said that running the prize table was something that they were kind of iffy on the amount of staff necessary to also take care of everything else he had planned on. So thanks for the volunteers, Phil and Zach, on that, and anyone else who may have volunteered that I didn't see. Um, the event, I think, was probably one of the best ran events I've taken part of because the only hiccups we really had dealt with a brand new software that's only 4-6 months old at most.
Yep.
In Roll Better, and that was kind of something that was a little bit foreseeable. This is the first large event that it's handled, and the first event of its kind, by the way. Not only the software handled, but also the whole event staff. The first test of a mass Swiss in a tight cut that is a little more prevalent in higher competitive card and board game style games that are popular, particularly Magic. I think it was great to get the international level judge staff together for that. Obviously, big thanks to Daniel Lim, Isofane, for helping contribute so much money, both for the judges and people in the community that were brought over to the Worlds event itself. I think our world champion Nicholas God was assisted in this as well. Who
He was.
took a pretty nice picture with him. So we might not have ever seen this world champion here if it weren't for Daniel Lynn, by the way, which he was gifted by members of our community to organize a mat that a ton of people signed to give to him with the Isofane Initiative logo on the bottom right with the 2023 logo as well. So a lot of people contributed to a great event and helped make people be able to attend in a fun and organized and a very professional manner. And I think the staff was incredible. I hope we get the same or even more people of that caliber for next year and years to come. And one of the main reasons why, when I brought my cookies in the morning, they were in the judges' table first for a while. Let them have it first, and then they got put on the prize table, and they were gone in like 15 minutes.
Oh,
Those
you,
went
you
quick.
you can't not eat Mrs. Staniszewski cookie. You can't not do it.
Yeah, no one had ever anything bad to say about him. Everyone loved him. So, um, knowing that Worlds has been confirmed to be happening at Adepticon again, they will now be upgraded officially to Worlds cookies.
World's cookies,
Awesome.
let's go.
I do want to send out one more shout out that I remembered. A special thanks to John Babcock for hosting so many people in his house. It was like we must have been like 50 deep in there. I don't even know what. So I hope
It's quite a
we
few.
didn't leave too bad of a mess. And thank him for again just being a great host and hosting so many people for quite a fun night.
That's right. That's right. I'm sure because he was that night. He's talking about for next year. Da 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 da. That was like, oh, okay, all right. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. As from myself, it has been a great honor to build Gold Squadron and to have gotten to a point where we're trusted to bring the official coverage of the World Championships to you guys is amazing. And we look forward to hopefully being able to do it in the future. And I mean, just for transparency, like there are some things that AMG and us need to talk about and figure out in order to make sure that happens. But you know, when we know, you'll know. But ideally, we are good friends with the person who runs Adepticon, so he would be we would be his first choice of doing it. But of course, AMG is going to have a say too. And ideally, we're right there. Anne came, and she's the head of social media and marketing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, Anne, if I got your title wrong. But she came over.
She's community manager.
Community manager. So I mean, it's both. It basically is both of those things with one title. But
Kind of
anyway.
everything, yeah.
Yeah. And she came by and was just elated to have been working with a staff of streamers that were really professional, and they were just overall impressed. They were saying that their AMG staffers back in Washington were just stuck on X-Wing all weekend and just having a great time, which is just a big vote of confidence, knowing that you know, the AMG team knows that GSP exists, and we're having a great time watching it. Of course, shout out to Hank and the entire just Adepticon staff. I've been a part of the planning meetings. I know all the work that goes into it, and X-Wing is just one piece out of many that happened there to be able to pull it all together. Shout out, of course, to everybody who I met again. Got to hang out with great friends again. Isofane, Lambolo, Chase. I mean, 3 of our Grand Admirals hanging out there as well, coming by, saying hi. We got to show off the Gold Squadron Paint Wars ships, which, by the way, voting for that's still open, ! Paint Wars, in our Twitch chat to get the access to the voting for that. And I mean, it was an amazing event. Thank you to everybody who came and hang out. I want to continue to see Adepticon grow, see this World Championship. The fact that it's in mine and Marcel's basically backyard is amazing, and it makes it so that it's significantly easier for us to get this done. And I feel like we can put on a better show because we're coming in fresh. We have access to all of the equipment we need, and if something goes wrong, we're not that far away from doing that. First time callers, just remember when AMG wouldn't respond to your emails. Look how far you've come. This is true. We have gone a long way, and yes, we're on a first name basis now. Absolutely. You know how I want to end today's stream? I want to end with the people who stayed all the way to the end of this podcast. We still have some extra World Championship prize packs left, James. So I think we need to do a couple giveaways before we get out of here.
Yeah, we may not have done the giveaway at the end of the day. We may have missed that one.
We were so hyped. We did miss that one. We did miss that. We were just so hyped. We were so hyped.
I literally just almost I jumped out of my chair and when we saw that die roll. So yeah, let's do it.
All right. So all you got to do is type in the chat. You'll see right here. If you're wondering what this looks like, right? You type in the chat. Everybody who's eligible comes here. All you have to do is type. And we've said you don't have to be a subscriber to win. You got no advantage. You see how these sliders are the same? We have the ability to change it if we really wanted to, but we like to say anybody who's just watching, you have a chance to win. So we don't even touch those. Easy. And as we get that done, yeah, shout out to to Lambolo. Gave a very generous gift to GSP in person. Thank you, good sir. It's really appreciated. And let's go ahead and let's do it. You know what? I'm pretty sure we have enough. Let me double check something. Hold on. Let me not put my foot in my mouth before we get out of here. I gotta grab this. You guys can't see what I'm about to show you. All right. Cool. Let's see. Again, I'm on my laptop, so things are kind of chugging right now. Things are going a little bit slow. I want to go to the prize form. Do you think we probably have enough to do 5 giveaways right now, right, James? I'm thinking one for each of us. One giveaway per person here. What do you think? Do you think we have enough?
Yeah, I think we had a couple of extra ones left after the giveaways that we did, and I think we did say that we'd do a couple extra at the end of the day, but things got a little heated, to say the least, at the end there.
Belinda Mood says, I'm waiting for the GSP return mail giveaway. We really should do like a fundraiser one day where we just take all the return mail, we scratch out all the addresses, and it's like mystery boxes. Like, I don't even know what's in here. $1. Go ahead, take it. Alrighty. 5. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how many of those tokens they gave us. Because we gave away, it's written down here, we gave away 16 of them. Obviously, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We know that we have 2. We had 2 from the final that we didn't give away. Let's. I think we have enough for 5. I think we'll be okay. All right.
I think 3. I think 3 would be safe, but yeah, definitely more is better.
All right, let's make this happen. Marcel, this will be your giveaway. So this comes from Marcel. Give me a 3, 2, 1, and I'll click it, and you go ahead and read the name.
7-Eleven. I cannot read the name because the screen you're sharing is.
There's not a name yet.
The name's up.
It's gonna pop up right here.
Roll it.
He said, "Roll it." Here it is. Winner's right there.
Plan 345. Member since January 29 of last year, so member for just over a year. Congratulations.
That's right. Congratulations.
Win in the chat.
Exclamation point win. Yeah, exclamation point win. You do have to pay for shipping for the items. AMG provided the prizes, but not the cost for shipping. So you can go ahead and get that done. Congratulations. Again, these are very exclusive prizes that AMG gave us. They're sets of tokens that were given out as participation prizes for Worlds, as well as you're going to get a card, one card of the many that were given away from Worlds, and a set of templates from the System Open that never happened. We were calling it the Lost Episodes. So congratulations. All right, let's go. Will, tell me when. He's waiting.
Will.
He's waiting. He's muted. He's giving us the sense
I had
of-
it full screen. Let's go.
Bam. The winner is
Grimwolf?
Grimwolf03. Did Grimwolf play? Did Grimwolf receive this stuff? Because if he didn't play, then he gets it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, he wins.
he played in the last chance qualifier.
That's right, but that wasn't for the last trans qualifier. Those prizes were only for the making the day. So, congratulations, Grimwolf03. You deserve it, man. You're awesome. You got it. Not rigged.
Yeah, that sideline reporting was very clutch.
Yep. Exactly. I was pretty sure you didn't even get these tokens. So there you go. We're gonna be able to hook you up officially, randomized. You guys saw it. I clicked the button. No shenanigans. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Ryan, let's go.
Hold it.
Bam.
Read tiny words. Enhance. It's pixelated.
Belinda Mood.
Stadium. Oh wait. Belinda Mood. Did I say that right? I think so.
Yep.
Congrats.
You got it. Exclamation point win, Mr. Brian Lindamood. All righty. James.
All right. I'm sending a look out into the world. Let's roll it.
Bam.
Pabs L or Pabs E1. Make sure we get that exclamation point win in the chat. I want to make sure that you get this giveaway. I'm sorry, first time caller. I tried. I had your name in my mind.
All right, well, there you go. Pabs EL, you got it. Make sure to type exclamation point win to claim your prize. And we got one more to do, and this one comes from yours truly, Dion Morales. From me to you. Oh, no. Pabs, are you awake? We need an exclamation point win.
He's gone. We lost him. Come on.
No. There it is. All right, we're good. And by the way, I do want to say it was also great to see. Obviously, I've been very busy with my new daughter and family stuff. I've got a bunch of composing, traveling I've been doing, and locked in my office, writing music. It was also just great to be able to see, like, even just local people, because those Worlds, there were so many local people there that I haven't seen in such a long time. It was great to see you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Last prize of the day. Crab Dragoons 514. Crab Dragoons 514. You have won our final prize for the World Championship prize packs. Exclamation point win. Fantastic.
Make sure you put your correct address in there. Make sure you write it out correctly. Double check it. Triple check it to make sure it gets to you.
Yeah, don't get wrecked. I have so much return mail, guys. I'm not even joking about that fundraiser for mystery packs of, like, literally I have no idea what's in here. There could be anything. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much for listening, watching our podcast. We'll be back next week talking more in depth about the reveals that AMG made. I think after that, we're going to be judging the Paint Wars, and we'll talk some more about that as we get there. Remember to vote. But for everybody here at Gold Squadron, be smart and be safe. Gold Squadron